scan and escape yells both our names out loud. We run like hell, I'll write a tragic epilogue and you'll act it out.
Waxahatchee is the name of an American indie music project which was formed in 2010 by Katie Crutchfield. So it's her plus some of her friends, basically. So Katie formed a band called P.S. Eliot, who are a pop-punk band, with her twin sister Alison in 2007. It sounds like they stopped that project in 2010, but Waxahatchee, I think, started before P.S. Eliot finished. Alison is now in a band called Swearing with several other people, and members of Swearing have contributed in some way to, I think, all of the 6 studio albums that have been released so far under the title Waxahatchee, but led, of course, by Katie Crutchfield. Hi, my name's Dan. So this is the second album by Waxahatchee, and it's the first encounter I've had with her, or therefore, of course, with this album as well. And I describe this as somewhere in the indie folk, alt rock, indie rock kind of area, but definitely with a lo-fi aesthetic going on. So the recordings quite lo-fi. I understand it was recorded at her house. That doesn't mean that there's lots of background noise or anything. It's it's reasonably clean recording in that sense, but I think it does mean that it's not been very processed. It's a very kind of natural, real sound. The playing's fairly basic, and at times there's some awkwardness to it. There's some what I call fluffs, which is obviously not quite hitting what you were meant to hit, and kind of adjusting as you go along. And mostly it's guitars and some drums. There's some bass work at times as well, and it's kind of somewhere in the alt rock spectrum, I would say. It's definitely when you say it's a lo-fi alt rock, I think that kind of sums up or gives the right feel of what it is. As I say, the playing's okay, but it's nothing particularly special. The music doesn't have anything that leaps out at me as being particularly attractive, other than it just being some played music, and it's, as I said, warts and all, it's lacking in polish. Now, listening to this did make me have a thought about how different arts and different media approach the idea of technical excellence and quality in that sense. And so music, obviously, there's a lot of music around which doesn't strive for that technical excellence that some other music does. And I was just thinking, well, you wouldn't get away with that in some other kind of areas of entertainment. So like conjuring and juggling kind of immediately came to mind. I was thinking about, what about paintings? Where do you get art that's quite simplistic? And, so there are some areas where you do get that. There are areas where you don't. I just found it interesting. Anyway, probably my favourite track on the album is a track called Brother Brian, in which the backing is just bass and drums. And it's quite a short album. The songs themselves are quite short and snappy. One of the characteristics seems to be they've come into a fairly abrupt end to songs without kind of properly finishing them off. I think this is done on purpose. The singing's okay. Again, nothing that I particularly went, oh, that's great singing, but also nothing that made me think, oh, that's rubbish singing. So kind of somewhere in the middle for me. For me, I think the best thing was the lyrics, but even then I'm kind of saying they're okay, they're all right. They're not just run-of-the-mill, and they're not just superficial. There is quite a bit more to them than that. I didn't find them hugely appealing, though. So in general, I would say it's got a lo-fi appeal, if that's the sort of thing you like. Personally, I'm not hugely a fan of lo-fi. I don't mind it, but it needs something else to sell it to me. And this, for me, didn't have other qualities other than its kind of, its lo-fi and quite real approach in that sense. So it may be that if you like something that's lo-fi, so in a couple of reviews ago, I did a review of Silver Jews. They were quite lo-fi, but also I felt that they had other qualities as well. But it may be that if you like stuff like Silver Jews, you would like this. So that's what I think, and I'd love to know what you think. So please do type something deep and meaningful or trivial or whatever you like into the comments, and that's it from me for now.
I said to you.